A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a historic and contentious move, Salvadoran lawmakers have voted to abolish the limit on presidential terms, effectively allowing President Nayib Bukele to seek re-election indefinitely. This significant constitutional reform, passed on Thursday, also extends presidential terms from 5 to 6 years and eliminates the need for election runoffs, fundamentally altering the political landscape of the Central American nation. The Legislative Assembly's decision was met with a vote of 57 in favor and just 3 against, demonstrating the ruling New Ideas Party's supermajority control over the Assembly. President Bukele, who has held power since 2019, has enjoyed widespread support among the populace, largely due to his aggressive stance against criminal gangs that have plagued the country for decades. However, this popularity has not shielded him from accusations of authoritarianism and power consolidation. Bukele's re-election last year, despite a constitutional ban on consecutive terms, was facilitated by a ruling from the Supreme Court, which he appointed. This ruling claimed that the president had a human right to run for a second term, a decision that many critics argue undermined the democratic framework of the nation. The recent amendments have drawn sharp criticism from opposition lawmakers and international rights organizations. Opposition lawmaker Marcela Villatoro denounced the reforms as a death knell for democracy in El Salvador, stating, "Democracy has died in El Salvador." Fellow opposition member Claudia Ortiz labeled the changes as an abuse of power and a caricature of democracy. The reforms have raised alarms among human rights advocates, with Miguel Montenegro, director of the Human Rights Commission of El Salvador, asserting that the changes create a total imbalance in democracy. Critics argue that the amendments were rushed through the assembly with minimal public debate, coinciding with the start of summer holidays, further raising concerns about transparency and public engagement in the legislative process. Noah Bullock, executive director of the rights group Cristosal, condemned the swift legislative action, emphasizing that it mirrors the strategies employed by autocrats seeking to entrench their power. The implications of this reform extend beyond presidential terms. It also synchronizes the electoral schedule for presidential, legislative, and municipal elections, which have previously been staggered. Lawmaker Ana Figueroa, who proposed the amendments, defended the changes by pointing out that other political offices, such as federal lawmakers and mayors, already have the right to seek re-election indefinitely. She argued that the presidency should not be an exception. However, critics remain unconvinced, warning that the lack of term limits fosters an environment ripe for corruption, nepotism, and the accumulation of power. Bukele's administration has faced scrutiny not only for its handling of gang violence, but also for its treatment of dissenters. The government has been accused of repressing critics, including high-profile lawyers and human rights advocates, prompting some organizations to relocate their operations out of El Salvador for safety. Despite international criticism, Bukele's popularity remains high, as many citizens credit him with improving security and reducing crime rates. His administration's controversial practices, including suspending constitutional rights during states of emergency, have been met with public approval, showcasing a complex relationship between governance and public perception in El Salvador. As the nation grapples with the ramifications of these reforms, the future of its democracy hangs in the balance, with many citizens left questioning the integrity of their political system and the true cost of stability. The recent legislative actions may very well mark a turning point for El Salvador, as President Bukele positions himself to potentially extend his rule indefinitely, raising critical questions about the nature of democracy and the limits of power in a nation yearning for stability. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.